Many actors from the golden age of Hollywood served in World War II, and their military service during the war often added a layer of complexity to their public personas. While their fame often overshadows their wartime roles, their contributions during the war were significant, and their experiences shaped their later careers and lives. James Stewart is one of the most famous Hollywood actors to serve in World War II. Known for his roles in films like It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, and Rear Window, 1954, Stewart enlisted in the Army Air Forces in 1941 before the U.S. entered the war. He became a bomber pilot and rose to the rank of colonel. Stewart flew 20 combat missions over Europe and received several honors, including the Distinguished Flying Cross. His time in the military was formative, and it was said to have made him more humble and grounded, even affecting his post-war career. He returned to Hollywood after the war, with his wartime experience adding depth to his roles in films like The Glenn Miller Story, 1954, where he portrayed the famed band leader, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, 1962. Clark Gable, known for his iconic role in Gone with the Wind, 1939, had a strong sense of patriotism that led him to enlist in the Army Air Forces in 1942, following the death of his wife, Carol Lombard, in a plane crash. Gable, who was already 41 years old at the time, was granted a commission as a second lieutenant and served as a tail gunner on bombing missions over Europe. He was not just a figurehead. He flew multiple combat missions and was involved in air operations. Gable was awarded the Air Medal for his service. His military career was a significant chapter in his life, and after the war, he returned to Hollywood, but never fully regained his pre-war superstardom. Audie Murphy, one of the most decorated American combat soldiers of World War II, later became a well-known actor. After enlisting in 1942 at the age of 17, Murphy fought in numerous battles across Europe. His bravery and leadership earned him numerous medals, including the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, and 2 Silver Stars. After the war, Murphy transitioned into acting, starring in a series of films, many of which were based on his own experiences, such as To Hell and Back, 1955, a biographical war film about his life. His acting career wasn't as glamorous as some of his contemporaries, but his wartime legacy made him an American hero in the public's eye. Kirk Douglas, the legendary actor known for his roles in Spartacus, 1960, and Paths of Glory, 1957, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Enlisting in 1941, Douglas was assigned to the submarine service, and he served in the Pacific Theater. He was injured during his service and was awarded a Purple Heart. His experience in the military had a lasting effect on his life and his acting career. Many of his films later touched on themes of war, duty, and sacrifice, and his portrayal of complex, morally ambiguous characters resonated with his own wartime experiences. John Wayne, the quintessential American cowboy, served in World War II, although he was never deployed overseas. Initially classified as 4F, unfit for service due to his age, he was 34 at the time the U.S. entered the war, and health, Wayne was persistent in wanting to contribute to the war effort. Eventually, he joined the U.S. Navy in 1942, but was ultimately assigned to a position in Hollywood making propaganda films. He worked closely with the government, supporting morale-boosting projects for soldiers. While he did not see combat, Wayne's contributions to the war effort were significant in terms of maintaining public support for the war and supporting the troops on the home front. Henry Fonda, who became famous for his roles in The Grapes of Wrath, 1940, and 12 Angry Men, 1957, was drafted into the U.S. Navy. He served as a lieutenant and commanded a ship in the Pacific Theater, where he participated in several major campaigns. Fonda's military service is often regarded as one of the reasons behind his strong, reliable screen persona. Unlike many actors of his time, Fonda didn't seek any special treatment and was committed to his duties. His service not only shaped his life, but also added to the depth and sincerity of his performances after the war. Lee Marvin, an actor known for his roles in The Dirty Dozen, 1967, and Point Blank, 1967, served in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II. Marvin was wounded in action during the Battle of Saipan in 1944, and his injuries led to his being awarded the Purple Heart. After the war, Marvin used his own experiences to portray tough, gritty characters in films, often playing anti-heroes or soldiers. His time in combat gave him a distinct gravitas that made him a respected figure in Hollywood for his roles in war and action films. Charles Durning, best known for his roles in The Sting, 1973, and Tootsie, 1982, was another actor who served in World War II. Durning was a part of the U.S. Army during the war and was involved in the D-Day invasion at Normandy. He was wounded in action and received the Silver Star and the Purple Heart for his bravery. After the war, Durning built a successful career in both television and film, often playing characters with a certain depth, likely informed by his own wartime experiences. George C. Scott, famous for his role as General Patton in Patton, 1970, was a U.S. Marine Corps veteran of World War II. Scott served in the Pacific Theater as a combat correspondent. His experiences during the war were formative, and they were reflected in his portrayal of Patton, a complex character who embodied both military discipline and personal flaws. Scott's portrayal of Patton earned him an Academy Award, though he famously rejected the award, making a statement about the competitive nature of the Oscars. Frank Sinatra, though better known as a crooner and Hollywood leading man, he was drafted in 1943 and served in the Army, though he was assigned to a non-combat role, entertaining the troops as a singer. His contributions to the war effort were more symbolic, but his performances boosted morale for soldiers overseas. Sinatra's work for the military helped cement his role as an icon in American culture, and his fame only grew after the war. Robert Mitchum, known for his roles in Out of the Past, 1947, and The Night of the Hunter, 1955, was drafted into the U.S. Army during World War II. He served in the Pacific Theater, where he participated in combat operations. Mitchum, who had a rebellious persona both on-screen and off, later claimed he was briefly arrested for desertion after an altercation with his commanding officers. However, Mitchum's service and experience in the war had little effect on his career trajectory, as he went on to become one of Hollywood's leading tough guys, known for his hard-boiled roles. Tyrone Power, a major star in films like The Mark of Zorro, 1940, and The Black Swan, 1942, enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps during World War II. Despite being one of the most popular actors of his time, Power felt it was his duty to contribute to the war effort. He served as a pilot in the South Pacific, flying transport missions. Tragically, after returning to Hollywood post-war, Power's career would be cut short. He died suddenly in 1958 at the age of 44. His service during the war was an often overlooked aspect of his life, but it solidified his reputation as a man of integrity. Douglas Fairbanks Jr., the son of legendary silent film star Douglas Fairbanks Sr., was known for his swashbuckling roles in films like The Dawn Patrol, 1930, and Gunga Din, 1939. He joined the British Royal Navy during World War II after being turned down by the U.S. Navy due to his age and health. Fairbanks Jr. served as a lieutenant in the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve, participating in numerous operations in the Atlantic and Mediterranean. His naval service added a layer of prestige to his public image, and he was later recognized for his bravery and commitment to the Allied cause. Humphrey Bogart, one of the most iconic actors in Hollywood history, known for Casablanca, 1942, and The Maltese Falcon, 1941, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Bogart, who was 43 at the time of his enlistment, served as a lieutenant and was stationed on a Navy transport ship in the South Pacific. Though he was not involved in any major combat, his service was significant in terms of his later portrayal of gritty, tough characters. His wartime experience also contributed to his public image as a man of integrity, loyalty, and resilience. Marlon Brando, the legendary actor famous for his roles in A Streetcar Named Desire, 1951, and The Godfather, 1972, had a complicated relationship with the military during World War II. Brando was classified as unfit for service due to his physical and mental health, but he later became an outspoken critic of the war. Despite not serving in combat, Brando's rebellious attitude toward authority and his refusal to conform to Hollywood norms made him an icon. His work post-war, particularly in On the Waterfront, 1954, carried the weight of someone who had experienced societal conflict firsthand. William Holdon, best known for his roles in Sunset Boulevard, 1950, and The Bridge on the River Kwai, 1957, served in the Army Air Corps during World War II. Although Holdon was initially rejected for military service because of his poor eyesight, he later joined the Air Corps and was assigned to film training videos for the military. He was involved in the production of wartime documentaries, and his work on behalf of the armed forces earned him recognition. After the war, Holden's career in Hollywood flourished, and he became one of the era's leading men. Allan Hallen Jr., best remembered for his role as the skipper on the TV show Gilligan's Island, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Hale came from a showbiz family, with his father being actor Allan Hale Sr., and was eager to contribute to the war effort. Hale Jr. served in the Pacific Theater, working as a radar operator on a destroyer. Although his military career was relatively short, his contributions to the war and his background as a Navy veteran added a unique layer to his persona, especially in his later television career. Ernest Borgnine, who went on to star in films such as Marty, 1955, and The Wild Bunch, 1969, served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Borgnine joined the Navy at the age of 18 and served for nearly 10 years, participating in the Battle of the Atlantic. His military service was an essential part of his character, and it was said that the discipline he learned in the Navy helped him shape his tough guy persona in Hollywood. Borgnine's later career was marked by roles that reflected his genuine service and no-nonsense attitude. Robert Taylor, the leading man known for his roles in Camille, 1936, and National Velvet, 1944, enlisted in the U.S. Navy during World War II after receiving a deferment for his acting career. Initially, Taylor served as a lieutenant and saw significant action, including anti-submarine warfare patrols in the Pacific Theater. His military service added a level of seriousness to his screen persona, and his experiences influenced his post-war roles, with Taylor often portraying more complex, disciplined characters. Despite facing challenges as an actor during the war, he continued to maintain his popularity afterward, though his fame was slightly eclipsed by younger stars post-war. Jack Palance, famous for his roles in Shane, 1953, and City. Slickers, 1991, served in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. As a young man, Palance trained as a pilot and flew combat missions over Italy and other parts of Europe. He was shot down during one of these missions, sustaining significant injuries that resulted in a long recovery period. His experiences as a war hero gave him the tough guy image that would become central to his Hollywood career. Palance's distinct, chiseled features and brooding performances were undoubtedly influenced by the physical and psychological effects of the war, making him one of Hollywood's most formidable tough guys. Sterling Haiden, known for his roles in The Killing, 1956, and Dr. Strangelove, 1964, was a man of many talents, but his service in World War II added a layer of depth to his rugged image. Haiden was a Marine Corps officer and served in the Mediterranean and Pacific theaters. He saw combat and was awarded several decorations for his bravery. Hayden's experience in the military left him with a sense of disillusionment, which he would later channel into his portrayal of characters with a similar sense of internal conflict. His career, however, was often marked by personal struggles, and he left Hollywood at times to live a more isolated life. David Niven, an English actor known for his roles in The Pink Panther, 1963, and A Matter of Life and Death, 1946, served in the British Army during World War II. Niven was commissioned as a second lieutenant and saw combat in North Africa, where he rose to the rank of lieutenant colonel. He was involved in several dangerous missions and earned the Military Cross for his leadership. Niven's wartime experiences led to a shift in his post-war career as he began portraying more comedic, sophisticated characters, a sharp contrast to the roles he had before the war. His military background also gave him a sense of discipline and personal integrity that translated into his charm and poise on screen. Peter Graves, best known for his role in Mission: Impossible, 1966-1973, and Fury, 1936, served as a bomber pilot in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II. Graves flew more than 50 combat missions over Europe, earning several medals for his bravery. His time in the Air Force undoubtedly influenced his later portrayal of heroic, authoritative characters on screen. After the war, Graves returned to Hollywood, but his experiences in the military gave his roles a weight of authenticity. He was known for playing calm, collected characters that required a level of strength and leadership, qualities that may have been influenced by his wartime service. Van Johnson, a major star in the 1940s and 1950s, known for films like A Guy Named Joe, 1943, and The Caine Mutiny, 1954, served in the U.S. Army during World War II. Johnson was initially training to be a pilot before suffering a severe leg injury in an accident, which ultimately kept him from serving in combat roles. Despite his injury, Johnson continued to support the war effort by performing in USO shows and in films that were made to boost morale on the home front. His military service may not have been as dramatic as some of his contemporaries, but it played a key role in shaping his enduring, wholesome image. He would later become one of the most successful stars of the post-war era. James Caan, known for his role as Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, 1972, and later in Misery, 1990, enlisted in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War, although his service took place just after WW. Caan was a part of the draft and served in the National Guard, stationed in Germany. His military background wasn't as extensive as those who served in active combat, but it shaped his worldview and his acting, particularly in the tough guy roles he would become famous for. He took his gritty portrayal of characters with hardened exteriors like Sonny Corleone might reflect the tempering influence of his time in the military. William Bendix, known for his roles in The Life of Riley, 1949-1951, and The Blue Dahlia, 1946, served in the U.S. Coast Guard during World War II. Initially, Bendix was stationed on a Coast Guard ship, and later he served as part of an anti-aircraft unit in the Pacific. His wartime experiences left him with a lifelong appreciation for military service. After the war, Bendix's roles often focused on characters that had a hard-working, down-to-earth charm, mirroring the traits he developed during his service. Bendix's rugged appearance and stoic on-screen persona helped him become one of Hollywood's most popular character actors. John Houseman, a renowned producer and actor best known for The Paper Chase, 1973, and The Winds of War, 1983, served in the U.S. Army during World War II. Houseman was appointed to work on the Voice of America radio broadcasts and in other public relations capacities. Though his role wasn't in combat, Houseman's work contributed to the war effort by providing vital information to both soldiers and civilians. His service in the war influenced his later career, where he brought a level of gravitas and authority to his acting and producing roles. His legacy is most prominently tied to his work as a teacher and mentor to aspiring filmmakers, especially at the American Film Institute. Ralph Meeker, known for his roles in Kiss Me Deadly, 1955, and Paths of Glory, 1957, served as a paratrooper in the U.S. Army during World War II. Meeker's military service was significant, and he participated in several campaigns, including the Normandy invasion. His rugged appearance and strong, silent persona were undoubtedly shaped by his wartime experiences. Meeker's post-war career was marked by his gritty performances in film, noir, and westerns, and his no-nonsense approach to acting was often lauded as authentic, in part due to the discipline and resilience he learned in the military. These actors, though primarily known for their work in Hollywood, proved that the talents and contributions of stars extend beyond the silver screen. Many of them came back from the war with a new sense of responsibility and perspective, shaping their acting careers in ways that reflected the experiences and hardships of wartime service. Their legacies as both actors and veterans highlight their courage and dedication, which they embodied in their real lives and on film. The duality of their fame as both screen idols and military heroes adds depth to their public images and serves as a reminder of the many sacrifices made during World War II.